Real Madrid are already preparing the presentation of Kylian Mbappé. Kylian Mbappé does not intend to extend to PSG. For this reason, the capital club are looking to sell him this summer. But the Frenchman refuses to leave and wants to go through with his contract. In the capital, we imagine that only Real Madrid will succeed in changing his mind. But the Merengues have not yet officially gone on the offensive. They are waiting for a public sign from the player. Despite everything, the Spanish leaders are ready to draw those who have the necessary cash. According to Marca, the Merengue club is already preparing the possible arrival of KM7. Real Madrid's communication department has already planned a video and graphic elements as well as photos for his presentation. But nothing says that this operation will go to the end. JT Foot Mercado, the new XXL tracks of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia continues to plunder Europe. If the Saudi Pro League teams have already hit hard on the transfer market, they do not intend to stop there, quite the contrary. Indeed, in recent days, sacred names have been associated with Saudi Arabia, the opportunity to make a small point on the main issues. We start on the other side of the channel with Kevin De Bruyne, one of the stars who make Saudi's dream. According to the Daily Mirror, the Belgian is in the sights of the biggest teams in the country. What is scary in England is that the transfer window closes on September 20th there, while it ends on September 1st for most European championships. Regarding De Bruyne, for the moment nothing says that the player is interested in the Saudi challenge. And it's a bit the same for Mohamed Salah. He is one of the other stars in the sights of Saudi Pro League clubs, but his agent has already closed the door on his leaving Liverpool this summer. The other Reds player concerned is Luis Diaz. According to Record, 2 Saudi clubs are on track to bring him in, including Al Hilal, for whom he is a priority. The leaders say they are ready to drop €50 million in exchange for the Colombian. But Liverpool is not a seller a priori. And then, we told you about it this morning in the press review, but Napoli are also worried about 2 of their players, Victor Osimhen and Piotr Zielinski. Indeed, according to Corriere dello Sport, the Al Hilal club would have offered the Italians €200 million for the Nigerian striker and €30 million for the Polish midfielder. And the contracts offered to players are just as impressive, with €45 to €50 million per year for Osimhen and €15 million for Zielinski. In Spain also players are concerned. This is the case of Franck Kessie. He was courted by Juventus, but he finally gave his preference to Saudi Arabia and Al Ahly. The operation should bring in between €10 and €15 million for Barca. He has already had his medical visit on Monday in Paris, on the sidelines of his signing for 3 years. This Wednesday, Lucas Paqueta has already agreed to join Manchester City. The Brazilian press has announced that Manchester City want to recruit Lucas Paqueta. And the Brazilian agrees to join the Sky Blues, according to our information. In 1 year, Lucas Paqueta has gone through all the states. Pushed out of Lyon despite initially wanting to stay, the Brazilian eventually joined West Ham. A transfer which brought in Lyon €61.630 million, including €18.680 million in bonuses spread over the 5 years of the player's contract, as the official press release specified at the time. In the Premier League, the former AC Milan player quickly found his marks. Author of 41 matches in all competitions, including 36 as a starter, he scored 5 goals and delivered 7 assists under David Moyes. Comfortable in his crampons on British lawns, the versatile midfielder caught the eye of Manchester City. Information revealed overnight by the Brazilian press, which specified that the Sky Blues had made an offer of €81 million for the former OL player. Lucas Paqueta said yes to City. It was not accepted by the Hammers, who are not necessarily for a departure from the Brazilian international. A feeling that the main interested party does not share. According to our information, Lucas Paqueta is seduced by the initiative of the champions of Europe and England. He has even already said yes to the residents of the Etihad Stadium, we were told. Good news for Pep Guardiola and his club, who have already convinced the player. The hardest part will therefore begin for them, since it will be necessary to convince West Ham. According to our information, the London team is not so close to a departure from the Brazilian. If an oral offer of 80 million euros has been made, it will take at least 90 million euros for the Hammers to let go of the player. This would be good news for Lyon, which will receive 10% on any capital gain. However, 15% of the amount of the capital gain realized will be donated to his former club, AC Milan, according to the rate of bonuses obtained. Regardless, this will remain good news for OL. The opportunity to bid farewell to his teammates, explained Sport. The formalization is therefore only a matter of hours. A former Real Madrid player is also concerned. It is Mariano Diaz, now free of any contract. According to AS, he is being tracked by 2 Saudi clubs, who have already sent their offers to the player. The latter is not against discovering the Saudi Pro League, but asks for a very specific salary of €6 million net per year. And then, let's also talk about the players of Paris Saint-Germain, starting with Marco Verratti. After refusing a first offer from Al Hilal, the Parisians have apparently changed their minds for their Italian environment. His coach, Luis Enrique, would really count on him this season. As a reminder, the player had reached a financial agreement with the Saudi club around a 3-year contract and a salary of €152 million in total. Even if he would not be against staying in the French capital for a 12th season. On the other hand, Neymar seems determined to leave Paris. Al Hilal is very keen to bring him according to our information. He has also received a Saudi offer of between €300 and €400 million over several years. MLS is also on the lookout, and of course Barca, which is the player's dream destination. As we explained to you yesterday, the Catalans will certainly have to go through a loan from a Saudi club to be able to bring the Brazilian back. And the latter would not be against the idea, if we are to believe the information from Sport. Indeed, if the deal with Barca is validated, Neymar would be willing to join Saudi Arabia. Case to follow. Maguire to leave Manchester United in England. There is something new in the Harry Maguire file. The Red Devils still want to part ways with the England defender, and talks were underway with West Ham. But the Hammers' first offer, at €25 million, was deemed insufficient by Mancunian leaders who wanted more, given the defender's exorbitant purchase price. This Wednesday, according to Sky Sports, a solution was found with West Ham. The 2 clubs would have agreed on a transfer of around €35 million. It remains to define the terms of payment and especially to reach an agreement with the player, but hope returns to this file, which could soon come to an end.